St. Daniel's could ring a bell when Pembroke was a furzy dell. St. Daniel is thought to have come to Pembroke in the 6th century and created a hermitage on the site where St. Daniel's Church was built centuries later and before the arrival of the Norman invaders who built Pembroke Castle. It's said he had with him a container of water from the River Jordan, which he had collected on pilgrimage to the Holy Land. He pushed his staff into the ground and emptied the water at its base. The staff became a tree and a spring erupted. This spring, it said, became a well-known healing well, and pilgrims would travel to drink its water. According to legend, a woman from nearby Carew, who had been poisoned, drank from the well, then vomited numberless worms before making a miraculous recovery. It's not known whether the church was built around the well or the well was merely nearby, as in 1592 the well was destroyed as part of a purge of all sites of pilgrimage in the area. We're on a field trip. You can see the church over there. This was a anti-aircraft battery. This wasn't. This was an accommodation. This one here. We could go in there, I suppose. There's not much to see. There's rats. Used to come up here when I was a kid. Actually, when I was a kid, all of this area here was cowshed, up to your waist. I mean, we thought it was over our heads at the time. There was a roof of a Land Rover that you had to jump on to get across. So we thought the whole Land Rover was down there until we found it upside down one day and it was just cut off. Yeah, these other ones are just ammunition magazine thingies. Oh, we're gonna get some wind noise. I'm gonna turn you off if I don't already. I'm not sure what the purpose is of this thick ass rebar sticking into the ground, but I've seen Friday the 13th part 6, so I'm not going over there. We are actually up here to find the magical well. I know where it is, I think. I don't want to shoot too much in this graveyard because we've got all that nice footage I shot 2 years ago when it snowed. 2 years. This is about the time it normally takes me to make a video. If I can't just set up a camera and let it run, if I've actually got to put work in, it takes 2 years. Let's go find the magic well and drink from the healing waters. But first we're going over this way. Down by that ash tree there's a hollow, which I think is caused by the ground being too boggy to have ever been ploughed or grazed and such. So we're going to go and have a look. And here we are. This is just down the hillside from the church, and I think if this St. Daniel fella established a hermitage here first, not a church that would keep the wind off him, we're talking about a mud hut or something, yeah? He needs to be down the hill a little bit because the prevailing wind comes from that away. If he was up with the churches, he'd freeze his bollocks off. That we're going to investigate after. First, we're going to find out where this water's coming from. Oh, nice. That's only past my ankles. I wish I was wearing more suitable footwear. Oh well. Dirt washes off. Okay, so it's coming out of a pipe. But this is not tap water, and I will explain why after. So this comes out of the hill, I guess. Quite a way out of the hill. So this has been diverted from somewhere else, possibly giving rise to legends of blocked up healing wells. See what it tastes like. So, I know what it tastes like. It tastes like water. I know where this goes now. And I knew from the moment I saw it disappearing into the ground over here, which we're gonna go and check out. There's another spring, at least I thought it was a spring when I was a kid, over there, which we will check out. And that spring feeds into a kind of gully that goes down behind those houses and enters into a stream down there, which enters into the castle moat. And that spring has definitely been flowing for a very long time because it's carved through the rock. So that pipe, you know, that's not the water supply, that's not tap water. And it disappears into the ground here and goes off in exactly the direction of the other spring. I know what you're gonna ask. Why have I typed a GoPro and a torch on the end of my tripod? Don't worry, I'm going in there to destroy them. Not to study, not to bring back, but to wipe them out. Unfortunately, the GoPro wasn't charged and the battery died almost immediately. I don't know if we've got anything usable, so we're going to use this camera. And this little tripod. I'm just going to stick my arm in there and hope they don't all float down there. This is a plastic pipe. It is too. But I think the wait, that's not going to the other spring at all. The other spring's that way. This seems to be going that way. Should we find out where it goes? Let's do that. I think we kind of solved the mystery of the spring. There would never be a spring right on top of the hill with the churches. I think this was always the spring. Maybe someone tried to block it up and it just sprung back out. You know? Blocking it up, that's a story, I guess, because it was a pilgrimage, people were pissed. If it pops back out again, you know, maybe 200 years ago or something, that's not a story. Nobody cares by then. Nobody's going to say the magic well has returned. So this is the other spring that I thought might have been not a spring, but merely the water from up there being diverted down here. But that tunnel we just looked in, the pipe goes in completely the wrong direction, unless they put a bend in it for some reason. This goes for a rocky gully way down there, all the way down to town, empties into the stream, empties into the castle moat like all the others. We used to get hazel branches to make arrows when I was a kid. That's just the type of kids we were. No water pistols, actual arrows. So we're left with 3 or 4 possibilities. We'll look at some water while I talk. I don't feel like being on camera. I'm sure I look great. Possibility number 1, obviously, there was never a healing well. Well, I mean, okay, there was never a healing well. There was never a well at the church. It was always slightly down the hill from the church. The legend often says near the church, and that's near the church. It's like 100 meters. It's not even 100 meters. Possibility 2 is, do you know what? Who even cares? Look, there's a spring here, there's a spring up there. Don't really know if either of them are springs, except they've been running long enough to carve out the rock, so they're not tap water. That one up there could still be tap water, but why would it be? I mean, it's emptying into a bath that's being used as a trough for cattle. If you were using tap water, you'd put a bull cock in there so you don't waste the stuff. You wouldn't leave it run all day. It also doesn't taste like tap water. So, yeah, I guess maybe that was the magic spring all along and it was never blocked up. Or that was the magic spring and it was blocked up and then it unblocked itself, or someone tapped into it or drilled into the hillside even just to feed the cattle, or the hill was a little farther up and he put the pipe in, covered it over just so that, I don't know, Maybe it was in the way of the house. Maybe they wanted to build the house there and the spring was in the way. We will never know, and I will never care. One last thing on the subject of magic healing wells. Over that way, where we just came from, we had St. Daniel's magic healing well. Over this way, we have St. Nicholas's magic healing well. We do know where that one is. I don't know if it's a magic healing well. It was a site of pilgrimage. I'm not too sure on the claims of any magic healinginess. I've drunk from that one too. You know what? I've drunk from all the magic healing wells around here. That's why I'm so badass. And in between, we have Poyer's well, which is in like a spring chamber. It's a little stone building with water bubbling up inside. And that one, when the English Civil War, what do you call it, the English? We're not in England. When the Civil War, let's call it, kicked off again, and whenever that happened, a dude named John Poyer was garrisoned at the castle. I don't know what side he was on. Oh, he lost. He was on the royalist side, because Cromwell did some stuff over here. And they laid clay pipes from Poyer's well to the castle, and one day a dude, I think his name was Edmund, could be Edmund, am I thinking of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe? Okay, well if his name wasn't Edmund, apologies to anyone who still has such a ridiculous name as Edmund. Edmund pulled a Ephialtes and snitched to the parliamentary dudes, Cromwell and such, where the water supply was coming from, because these pipes are buried, obviously, you can't see them. And they went up and they smashed the pipes, so the people in the castle would have no water. And then Edmund, as a reward, was hanged over there by the well and buried beneath a catstone. Now, I googled catstone, no idea. It is a real thing, but the actual term catstone doesn't seem to mean anything. I thought it was just a thing you did, like, what's that down? Was that a squirrel or a badger? Anyway, yeah, buried under a catstone, which implies like it's a well-known name of a thing, which it isn't. But the catstone itself was real. It's a stone with a cat carved into it. I can show you a picture of it. I think I will right now, overlay. And that stone was then incorporated into the walls of the infant school in Moncton. Not the one I went to, there was an older one which isn't there anymore. That was demolished. It was taken to Pembroke Castle, where it was displayed, and then apparently it's in the Museum of Pembroke, or Pembroke Museum, which is quite baffling because there's no such thing. There is a museum of the home, which I've never been in, and I don't really know what it is. I'm assuming it's like a museum that shows like furniture and sewing machines and shit. Through here is St. Nicholas as well. We don't need to go see it. You've seen, I did an update video there one time, sitting in the entrance to it. So there we go. That's my fascinating story. I think I should probably add that St. Nicholas as well, which is over in the bushes there, and empties out here. The water flows down here, down this track. It does eventually go into pipes now, but in the day it would have just rolled down straight past the church down there, which is called St. Nicholas's Church, which was the subject of the video about the bricked up nun. Yeah.